So Let's Go Hunt. Two dudes, one guest. Tonight we have Sam Alexander, the artist
Oh
currently
shit! I
known
forgot
among
to
the
change that.
living. No, I changed it for you because you're now currently.
Oh,
Vince H is increasing his militia. Mike Gonsalves is not here because he bruised his pagina. And I'm Dave Packard, who says you should never kiss your mom on your dad's birthday. Tonight, our special guest, the man who has killed more dogs than Parvo, Ty Moffat.
Yes, hello. What's up?
more dogs than Parvo, huh? All right then.
Yeah. Yeah, they make a t-shirt that says that.
Yeah, by God.
You bet.
And around the campfire tonight, we're talking predator hunting, thermals, and maybe some light grooming. I mean, guiding.
Yeah.
Guiding.
Horses, like horse grooming, right? With the brush.
No, show steer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's from Kansas, so.
Yeah, that's another way to get kicked out of a nice place.
Grooming?
No, well, no, showing steers. The 4-H guy will call you like a week before the fair and go, "Hey, we're short steers. You want to bring a steer?" I'm like, well, we can rope one out of the feed yard. And yeah, it didn't go as good as we thought. You can't harbor break one in a week.
You tried.
Yeah. Yeah, at the premium sale, all those kids were crying, leading their steers on. I'm like, hey, you want to set up that load and shoot? Because I ain't getting in the trailer with you.
Man, I miss so much growing up in the middle of nowhere, but not being involved in that kind of shit. I just watched other people fuck with cows.
Well, that's okay.
I got hired as a pig caretaker, and I was walking show pigs and shit, and it was great watching somebody walk a pig that I had walked for God knows how long. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, there's a check for $19,000.
Yeah, there's some big money in that shit.
Should have grabbed the pig and run. Well, it's like the dude you got down by you keep sharing me the links with all the freaking mini Highland cows.
Oh, those high decks?
Yeah, it's a little freaking the $12,000 cow.
Calf.
I think those would be pretty handy to raise if you only got like 2 or 3 kids. You know, I think one of them would feed a family for a year.
If
I know that's why they aren't buying them, but
Colorado. Oh, I'd raise them for that reason. If Colorado wasn't gay, I'd be doing that shit, but instead I'm leaving eventually.
Well, yeah, my buddy down here, he's got a Highland Hydex operation going on. He's got he sells Highland meat, which if you haven't had Highland, phenomenal. Like, because they're so poofy and fluffy and furry on the outside, all their fat, there's no fat cap around the outside. It's all intermuscular. And
yeah, they marble up real good.
Oh yeah, it's good shit. Then they got their little fancy ones, like little white calves with the brown nose and the brown ears and cuter than a button. But no, they're it's cool shit. We were actually going to have a segment on the show called what was it, cow fights?
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about
that. Guess the price of this calf.
Oh
yeah,
well, show a picture of the calf and go guess the price of this one.
Right now, just show a video of the regular old sale barn. I watched a set of pairs last week sell for like $6,500 on 4-year-olds.
Insane, isn't it?
Yeah, these guys, I don't know. They must know something I don't. Maybe I'm stupid, but golly, I don't know how you make that work. That cow'd have to live till she's 20 to make it work if the calf market crashes.
Yeah. Yeah, calves are going insane.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. This is let's go be punchy.
Yeah.
Not let's go hunt.
Tonight we're going to give you financial advice. Number 1, do not buy cattle if you don't have cattle. Number 2, if you currently have cattle, good for you. You're sitting on a gold mine.
That is no shit. Sell them now.
Yeah. Just haul them to any sale barn. Shots or not, it don't matter. They're buying them all.
How long they've been weaned? 30 days.
Yeah, we pulled them off Mom about an hour ago when we
Yeah.
got them on the truck. There's 2 that are still on Mom because they got through the fence, but that's all right. We'll get to them later.
Oh,
If the coyotes don't get to them first.
fucking cow market. Oh, speaking of coyotes, I done fucked up.
Uh-oh.
I went and drove the Cracker the other day because it hasn't been drove in a while, and driving around. I was off all last week on bereavement. I'm like, I'll throw the AR in just in case to see a coyote. AR is still in that son of a bitch. I saw 3 coyotes this morning or today, and I was like, yep, that's not going to happen again. So,
Yeah, that's generally how it goes. If you want to be guaranteed to see one, just go drive around without a gun in your pickup.
yep.
Oh, the hell. The last time I saw one, I was up walking a creek and I had a pistol with me. Because I didn't bring a fucking rifle.
Ty,
Well, send rounds.
are you
Not in that direction. Like, accurate shot in that direction, good. Send rounds in that direction, not so good.
are you of the mindset that if you are slightly unprepared, your chances will be better of seeing something?
Yeah.
Like if I happen to forget my shooting sticks, I'm like, oh darn, I'll go hunt anyway.
Yeah, unless you're hunting a contest. But
Yeah.
That's a different beast. But yeah, like when I go out hunting for fun, in my mind, it's bad luck to kill a coyote on the first stand. So if I go out and kill a single or double on the first stand, I'll just go home because I ain't gonna move shit the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Now contest, I'm gonna go obviously, but yeah, if I go fun hunt and go whack a double right out of the gate, I'm probably going to bed or going to the house.
Mm-hmm. Now you and Brandon, who's Gadsden Arsenal, who we've gone hunting with a couple times. Vince and I just recently went. This is the guy that was calling for us all night. You guys are like super, super, super heavy into the predator stuff in Kansas, especially thermals.
Yeah, well, the thermal deal is kind of nice because I've got a 2-year-old daughter, so I can put her to bed and go hunt all night and not miss out on anything. But honestly, I think I've been night hunting for 10 years now. But we started it just because I started coyote hunting because we had one pasture one winter of my wife's dad's stuff. I think we had 15 calves get killed by coyotes.
Jesus.
And I'd called some, but not a whole lot. And I went out and killed 12 coyotes on one set in the daytime by myself. And yeah, needless to say, it's become a hopeless addiction ever since. That was, I don't know, I was 15 or 16 then.
Speaking of,
what's the most you've whacked in one sitting? Like one
night,
one night / one day, whatever.
Oh,
or you could go one competition.
Oh, the most we've killed in a contest was 42 and a cat.
And how long was that contest? 3 days, right? 2, 3?
Yeah, Friday night to Sunday at noon, but we had to drive 5 hours back to check-in, so we quit hunting on that Sunday about 4 a.m. I think we slept 2 hours on Saturday. We quit hunting for like 2 or 3 hours on Saturday and slept for a little bit because we knew we'd have to drive, and then we just kept hunting. Because when you're sleeping, there's somebody else out there that's killing them. So, you ain't killing nothing sleeping in the pickup.
So can you go into a little bit into the contests? Because we can't hunt coyote contests in Colorado anymore because we're fucking stupid.
Yeah. But
you guys over there, you can hunt from Nebraska to Texas usually.
Oh yeah. I've South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Usually about the time deer season's done in Texas. I mean, there's a contest every weekend from the middle of January to about the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this last year I only hunted one contest, but usually I go to 3 or 4 a year. And but yeah, those contests, it's a timed event. Like you only get some of those hunts are only 24 hours, so you have 24 hours to hunt. So I'll sit there for 2 weeks before studying Onyx, trying to figure out how to get from stand to stand. And, I'm sitting for 12 minutes, whether they're coming or not, I'm calling for 12 minutes. And if nothing's coming, even if I got a coyote sitting there barking at me at 500 yards away, 12 minutes, if nothing's coming in, I'm throwing my stuff in the pickup. I'm going to go find one that's going to run over the call.
Yeah.
And I mean, you'll wear out a set of tires. Speed limits are definitely a suggestion during contests. But I mean, there was one year my buddy and I entered a contest up in Nebraska. It'd be Holdridge, and we drove clear down just south. We hunted my dad's place on the Oklahoma line, and we hunted our way all the way back to Nebraska, and it was only an 18-hour hunt.
Jesus.
And it was like a 6-hour drive from Rules to where our first stand was. But by the time we got back to the Kansas-Nebraska line, we had 18 in the pickup. So
now these contests, there's some of them that'll pay.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that big one that you were talking about when Vince and I were hunting. I can't remember where that one
that
was.
West Texas Big Cat in San
one.
Angelo. That sucker pays like a slot machine. I mean, you got to kill, I don't know, for those of you who don't know, so you got to kill 5 coyotes or 5 gray fox to check in a cat. And so there's a lot of guys there that will kill 5 coyotes or 5 gray fox, and they start killing bobcats. And down there in Texas, they don't have seasons on cats. You still got to get them tagged like you do in Kansas and Oklahoma, but like with a game warden or whatever. But, there's times a 34-pound cat wins it, and there's times a 29-pound cat wins it. And, I mean, just get on their website and look at the prices. It's unreal. I mean, if you shoot a 22-pound bobcat, most contests, if you're that far down out of the money, you're not getting anything other than lack of sleep and dragging at work on Monday. But
yeah,
22-pound bobcat, that Horizon Firearms gives you certificates for 22 Creedmoors. So, I mean, they've got a ton of prizes.
What was the big purse in that one? Wasn't it up there like 40?
Yeah, 40. I think it was like 45 or 50,000.
Yeah.
There's like 700 some teams.
Shit.
I mean, there was a picture of the line on one of the groups I'm in, like the check-in line. I'll bet there's 300 pickups in the line waiting to get their stuff weighed.
Oh, and the smell of that line.
Oh, yeah, that sweet smell of victory, boys. They had to get that approved with the state probably to deal with that.
Yeah.
Be like driving past the freaking meat processor in Cactus.
Oh,
I hate
it's
to be
worse
the
than
dude at
that.
the landfill. It's like, God damn it.
Every year.
2,000
Man, I'll
coyotes in
bet.
here now.
I'll bet that's a big enough pile. I bet they have to get a deal like designated area with the state to bury them. I bet it's something stupid
Burn them
like
and bury
that.
them, maybe.
Or there's one of those stupid pet crematories that's making a shit ton of money. We're shoving them in 30 at a time, boys.
And it turns out, is you brought your lab there to get it cremated. They just threw the lab out the back and gave you coyote ashes. Here you go.
What was
Yeah,
his
but
name?
they gave you $5 off.
It was Wiley number 638.
According to his tag, he was Team 42, dog number 7.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And so when you guys are hunting contests and when you're fun hunting and shit, you're mainly thermal.
Yes. I'm still a daytime hunter at heart. I just don't really have time anymore.
Yeah. Kids will do that to you.
I love daytime hunting. And I mean, I used to go out, like, there'd be days I'd just wake up and go feed cows and do my deal. And then I'd just go call till dark. And
Yeah.
I mean, I could probably still do that now, but I'd be living in a cardboard box by the river or something. So, but yeah, but nighttime, and it's the same deal as daytime. I know all these guys think, oh, you're thermal hunting, they're just running you over, but, and yeah, I mean, some guys will cuss me for saying this, but nighttime is a lot easier than daytime calling. Just because you can hunt ground that you can't hunt during the day, you can make it work. Like an open wheat field with that tailwater pit 500 yards away. I mean, you can make that work as long as you got your wind still. And I like hunting crosswinds, or if the wind's blowing over like 25 miles an hour, I will hunt facing straight downwind. And because I mean, like you take one of those scent checkers and throw it up in the air, you know, that powder really distorts in that high wind. You can get away with more in a higher wind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll hunt straight down. I'll hunt the downwind all night and kill just as many coyotes in 30-mile-an-hour wind as I will in a 10-mile-an-hour wind, where I'm hunting a crosswind and having to worry about them smelling me.
Yeah.
So it's all about setup. That's 90% of coyote hunting is just setting up and knowing how to set up.
Yeah.
I just bought a white pickup, so I'm going to have to change my whole way of how I park, which it was stupid, but it was in the budget. So I'd spray paint it black, but it kind of cost a lot.
You go to Home Depot, you get some cans of Rust-Oleum. Actually, fuck Rust-Oleum, that's too expensive. You don't need it to be that flat. You get the $2 can stuff and just.
What you need is just like a big ass blanket, not a tarp, because tarps are noisy, but just
spend $3,500 on a wool blanket,
or
hire a couple high school kids to just hold it down for me all night,
or just hunt in the snow strictly.
Yeah,
a surplus camo net, not that expensive. I got 2 of them. I think it was like $30 and it'll cover a car.
Yeah, bad part is though, the way the wind blows here, it'd either be in Oklahoma or Nebraska by midnight that night.
You'll go down to hunting Oklahoma and go, hey, there it goes.
Hey, there's my tarp caught in the fence.
Get one of them funky winds and I'll end up with it in my yard.
Right next to all the freaking birthday balloons.
But yeah, that setting up, I like hunting crosswinds a lot. And I mean, how in depth do you want me to go, Dave?
Have at it, man.
Stuff. As far as you go.
Your best shots, your guys that are hunting, you'll notice I always put Brandon on the downwind.
Yeah.
That's because he's the best shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always have him on the downwind because them coyotes are always going to try to wind you. So I always have him where those coyotes are going to, I mean, he's going to shoot 90% of the dogs. And I'm running the call, so most of the time I don't have time to jack with. You know, by the time I put my remote away and get on my gun, usually they should already be getting killed. So, and then
he shot that one at what 533, 534.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a fucking shot.
Yeah,
granted, we were all right around in that area because I saw all the dirt, but.
Yeah, I always tell him I like to think I nick him,
Yeah.
I got some of that one too.
Yeah, I got a piece of him. Did you see the tip of his tail fly off? Yeah. That would have been lethal if I'd have been shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor.
It's like when you're all down there, or like we're all down there hunting freaking geese and crane in Texas. You're like, oh yeah, I definitely got that. I definitely got one. There's 11 people here and 4 dead birds.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we either all shot it twice or everybody missed.
It's amazing how good everybody shoots when they got a band.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely killed that bird. You're clear on the other side of the pit.
So Brandon, he's a hell of a shot. He is. And I think a lot of that is the time that he gets behind his rifle. And like you said, you're the call. Brandon has called you the human coyote call because you can hand call, you can remote call, doesn't matter. Dogs will come in. But
Oh, he just thinks I'm good at it because he hasn't hunted with anybody else.
Well, you know.
But you guys are gracious enough to lend us your shit. That way we can go out there. And yeah, when I got behind Brandon's gun at that 6 arc, I was like, cool, this fucking thermal, badass. We're getting out there, and I have no fucking idea what this scope is. I didn't know till we were on the last stand. Brandon's like, yeah, that's the shit part about having a 4-power. And I'm like, oh, is that what this is? No wonder.
See, I like that real high base mag just
Mhm.
because I live in real open country.
Yeah.
But like when we go down to Oklahoma and we're hunting like western Oklahoma and we're hunting in that mesquite brush and it's real tight, I'm like, man, just give me a red light and a shotgun.
Yep.
Because there's times by the time you see them, they've already seen you, they've smelled you, they came over and pissed on your tire, you know,
Yeah.
because you're sitting up there in that high rack. They came over and took a leak on your tire and they're already running off. And it's like, son of a bitch, where did he come from?
Our high racks are legal in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, they're legal there and they're legal in Texas.
Yeah.
They're technically legal in New Mexico.
Uh-huh.
But you got to kind of read the fine print on that deal. And I would recommend calling the game warden in whatever area you're going to go hunt and telling him like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And if he says yay or nay, maybe pick somewhere else and go there. It seems sketchy.
For those that don't know what a high rack is a platform that you build on top of your pickup. That way you can drive around with a big old hunting stand.
Yep. And I like them just because your hit percentage goes up so much because you're shooting off the equivalent of a bench.
Yep.
I mean, you've got a vise out in front of you. You got a sandbag underneath your stock. I mean, you can't get any more. In a hunting situation, I think that's as solid as you can get.
Just about.
Yeah. And just the mobility of it.
And then in Kansas, we can shoot them out of the pickup window during the daytime as long as we're on a private road. Which is why my air conditioner in my last pickup quit, because when they opened it up to fix my AC, there was a bunch of brass stuck down in there. So my new pickup is getting a dash guard just for that reason.
And don't talk to me about that. I got to fix my AC here coming up. I don't think it's full of brass. I think it's just full of shit.
It's coming. You better get that AC fixed.
Oh, let's
step your game up.
As soon as it gets like 70 degrees, I don't acclimate to temperature well. It takes me a bit. It's like, fuck, it's hot.
You should try being fat.
Yeah.
It sucks ass.
Nope.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to avoid.
And I'm at my peak when it's about 2 a.m, and it's about -10 out. That's when I'm pretty happy.
Rodin asks if you guys use swivel bipods.
Oh yeah. I run a Fat Boy bipod or Fat Boy tripod.
Yeah.
And because at night we stand up for a couple reasons. One, you can get away with it. And two, at night those cactus are kind of hard to see, so just kind of. I had a buddy that didn't wear a headlamp for like the first 2 years. He night hunted down in Oklahoma, and I think he got sprayed by 2 different skunks before he bought a headlamp.
Oh my god!
So, I mean,
the first time he's like, "Yeah, that happened." It's the second time it's like, "All right, nope."
This time wasn't a fluke. I guess I better get a headlamp. And those band ones, I can't remember what they're called, but they're like flat.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I was wearing one that night we hunted, but those are the best headlamps you can buy. I think Night Buddy, is that the right name? NITE.
I'll look it up right now.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's Night Buddy. That is
Night Buddy headlamp.
Is it a big old like highlighter color across the front and the lights out here?
Yeah, it's got that little side light too.
Yeah, those are the Night Buddy ones.
Yeah, I use that side light when we're putting down spine coyotes because you can kind of pick up their eyes a little better. Yeah, that one. And then they've got a model that has a red light on there too, and that is real good for walking in on
This
stands.
dude looks terrified.
Yeah, well, if you were that much of a hippie, you'd be terrified too.
Yeah.
I'll bet he wasn't planning on a bunch of guys running around shooting pigs and coyotes at night to be the
Hold
ones
up.
buying them.
We gotta rewatch this. Oh, never mind. Wait. What?
Oh, shit, Marilyn Manson had to have a rib
Jesus
removed for that.
Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway. So. Oh, that's awesome. What do you run for a thermal? What's your preferred?
I like the IRA stuff. I've got a IRA hybrid 50 I'm using right now. I don't really care about the internal or external rangefinders. I don't use them just because I get in my head too much if I know distance. So I'm just kind of a hold hair and send it. And if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't.
Yeah.
Which IRA is now going to become knock picks, by the way, for everybody wondering.
I saw that.
Because of the little issue with their field testing in Russia. So.
Oh. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, at least we know it. It's probably bad to say, but at least we know it works.
They didn't fucking ban Hollow Suns for showing up over there. I just fucking stupid.
That's because they got them at the Walmarts.
But fucking Straylock, we lose.
I still have my Straylock, but unfortunately my phone is dying very, very, very rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very long. Yeah.
But yeah, and then as far as guns, I can't not like jack with stuff. I think the only gun I don't jack with is my contest gun. And that's a Sig Cross I rebarreled to a 6mm Creedmoor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a 22-inch barrel with a Diligent Defense Wolf Hunter. And shooting those 87s and 75s, it's kind of hauling the mail. Yeah. We call our contest guns or meat grinder guns because in that thermal you're literally watching the shit fly off of them. So, which I mean is what you want because time's money. How do you sight in thermals and add for the add-on units? Okay, so
impact shifts.
If any of you chew snuff, just use those snuff can lids. Just tape it on there, go into your menu. It'll stick out like a sore thumb whether it's hot out or cold out.
I wondered about that.
And then when you hit, like I like to use those realtor signs. If you got a buddy that's a realtor, get you one of them because that round will be really hot when it hits that metal sign. And then in your sight-in deal, you move your reticle up to it, and then you hit the, I don't know, different thermals have different deals, but long story short, you're just using like a skull can or the hot hands. A lot of guys use them. I don't like the hot hands because if you don't, unless you tape like a really small area, the more they warm up, they get blurry, and I don't feel like you're holding in the same part every time. Like you don't get as precise of a. I like those snuff can lids because it's crisp.
I've heard of guys using like a paper plate, but they'll put tinfoil over it.
Yeah, that works. That works. The other deal that works is that HVAC tape.
Oh, yeah.
But what I like to do is use duct tape around it and make like a 2-inch square or 1-inch square or whatever to where you're being precise. And then just read that instructions manual. I'm about as technology illiterate as they come, but I figure if I can figure it out, most people can. Dave asked me if I owned a laptop. I was so broke when I graduated from college, I sold it to a kid on my way off campus. So,
what do you sight in at? Do you sight in at 100?
I start at 50 just to save some headache and heartache, and then I go out to 100.
Nice. You just
And then
kinda know
I've
your
got
holds
steel
from there.
targets set out to. Yeah, I've got steel targets set out in the pasture to 400 yards. So you put a fresh layer of spray paint on those steel targets and they stand out pretty good in the wintertime. And then in the summertime, go shoot them at night because they've heated up in the sun all day
Mhm.
and they shine really, really good at dark in the evenings
Nice.
until summer rears its ugly head and quits cooling down at night. And then everything's just hot.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah.
I fucking hate summer.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
I live in the wrong part of the world.
Yeah. Same. Guy that likes to plow snow and oh no, let's be 112 today. Fuck you. But
Get on that mower, son. Hey.
what calls do you use?
So my hand calls.
Let's start with hand calls. Then we'll
Okay.
go to electronic calls.
Hand calls. Sorry, I would have got some stuff put together, but all my stuff's kind of in a box because I literally cleaned out my pickup and traded it off. But anyway, I like
I
to run the
messaged
open.
you an hour ago asking
Yeah,
if you wanted to come on, so
yeah.
I understand why you don't have your shit together.
Yeah. Well, it'll
Well,
happen.
that's par for the course for around here. When do we ever have any of our shit together?
I knew you
Yeah.
guys were hard up when you messaged me asking if I'd be on here. I was like, boy, there's
Dave and I, have we done 2 episodes or 1 episode with just you and I?
I think it's just one.
Is it just the one? We
I think
flew
it's
that
just
one.
one.
We flew that one pretty damn well. All
on
things.
tonight's episode. Dave and Sam are going to talk about their feelings.
I mean, we flowed pretty well that episode. I think you and Mike did one halfway
I don't
by
remember
yourselves because I was
Oh.
at the state rodeo and I showed up after Fireball, and that was a terrible idea.
I thought it was great.
No, as far as hand calls go, I run. I like the little green open reed from Primo's. You can get them at pretty much any farm store.
Mhm.
Yep.
And now the secret's out, but that's a really good one. And
I don't think
they
that's
used
the
to
secret.
come.
I think the
They
secret
used
is
to
going to actually.
come.
Oh, sorry.
They used to come with an instructional DVD and the old tally ho right
The
there.
fucking
Yeah,
tally ho! I lost my reed.
yeah. Well, I've got a box of them. I just have to find them because I'm still packed from the last time I moved 2 times ago. So once I find them, I'll get you another one. But yeah, those tally hos down there in Ashland where my dad lives, you can get them at the co-op. Plowed guy, Dave.
Yeah.
I wasn't
But,
plowed, but yes, Fireball was involved.
the Burnham Brothers calls, those are really good.
We'll talk about Burnham Brothers a little bit more once we get into electronic calls too.
Yeah, I don't know if I should, but yeah, we can.
Oh no, we should.
All right,
Okay, but
fixing to save you a lot of money. But no, and then Rick Palette's from Kansas, and I used to use. So he originally was a hand call guy before he got on the Lucky Duck deal. So I had a bunch of his open reed calls, and they were awesome. But sadly, they all fell apart, and he said his molds are so worn out he can't hardly make them anymore.
Oh,
so
well,
and there's so few guys hand calling anymore that it's. I mean, I understand why you wouldn't want to spend the money on the new molds and stuff.
If you could have 3 calls that you take with you, 3 hand calls that you take with you everywhere you go, you got a howler, you got a Kai, and then like a distress, what ones are you taking?
That little green call would be my Kai and my distress, and then my howler would be either a tally ho or the oh shoot, I had one my buddy made me out of deer antler that was pretty good.
No shit.
Yeah, Yep.
That's badass.
He made it out of antler, and then I had a just like a piece of cone, that I'd put over it to howl real loud. And then once you realize how good the coyote's hearing is, you don't really need all that extra junk carrying around.
Yeah.
But I know some guys, like those guys in North Dakota and South Dakota, where you're hunting that big country where there's not a dirt road through stuff for miles and miles.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different than when you're just hunting sections where you're actually howling to locate. That's a different ball game. That's where you need those big horns on those howlers and stuff.
Yeah. Totally get that. I'm not a great hand caller by any means, but one thing that has really helped me was I have the original Calling All Coyotes DVD by Randy Anderson.
Yes.
And if you want to get hand calling coyotes, that's a great place to start.
I watched that video over and over and over and over, trying to sound like Randy, because that guy, I mean, as far as like north of Texas, I mean, that guy's, him and Les Johnson are two of the greatest hand callers, in my opinion, to call, and they're both from Nebraska. And I mean, those guys, unreal. Now Randy kills a lot of dogs because he's really patient.
Mm-hmm.
And he also can hear a howl and all but tell you what they had for breakfast, it seems like. Like that guy's listened to so many coyotes. He's like, oh yeah, he's about 400 yards right over here.
Yeah, he's an absolute legend. And is he still with Primos? I think.
Yeah, they came out with a new electronic call that
Mm-hmm.
you can buy on Amazon now. I was looking at it and kicking it around, but yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid, I'm kind of scared that it's going to be the same sounds that were on the very first Primos call I bought back in high school.
Yeah.
So,
well, speaking of electronic calls, let's dive into that a little bit.
All right. So the two main ones are Fox Pro and Lucky Duck.
Mm-hmm.
And around here, everybody runs the Lucky Ducks. So, and I ran a Lucky Duck for a long time.
You came over here with a Lucky Duck.
Yep. And then the winter after I hunted with you guys that summer, I got tired of getting booger bark every stand. So I sold it to a buddy and bought a Fox Pro. And the Fox,
we're kind of opposite over here. Like we're super heavy Fox Pro over here. So you brought your Lucky Duck, and it was like everything woke up except for these two fucking coyotes out by my house. They didn't want to fucking move at all.
Well, don't worry, Mike sent enough rounds at them. They ain't coming back.
I think you said it while because Mike was running your gun, and you're like, I brought my bolt gun so I could save a little ammo, and Mike decided not to, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I was trying to keep my ammo bill down, and he decided maybe I didn't need to.
He's like, oh, not my ammo.
But yeah, Rick's from here. He sponsors a lot of local contests. I mean, and Lucky Duck does a really good job with supporting local contests and stuff like that. So I mean, guys around here, that's what they run and they use, but I was tired of getting coyotes barking at me and not playing. So I went and bought a Fox Pro, and actually the first Fox Pro I bought so I just bought a used one off one of my buddies that had one riding around his pickup. Like there was duct tape holding on the battery cover. And I think I traded him a King's camo jacket for it, actually. And I took it out that first night, and we're not killing nothing. I had that Fox Pro in the back seat, and I told Brandon, I said, let's give it a try. And I literally kicked on, I think it was a BB Cottontail, and we killed a triple.
No shit.
I was like, man, that sound is older than me. Like that sound's been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
And then I kicked on like the original coyote pup distress on that thing, and
Mhm.
we killed another single out of that deal. I was like, hey, and then we didn't have a dry stand the rest of the night. I think we called till like 4 that morning. So then I called MFK in order to call from them. That was that call we were using that night.
Mhm. I think electronic calls, you don't have near as much variation as you do with hand calls. So you have to be different.
Yeah.
You have to be calling something different because there's
Oh.
old dogs, there's educated dogs, and
Yeah, and there's those coyotes that, I mean, they hear a pickup rattling down the road and stop, and the second you open your door, they start barking at you because they played the game so many times. They're like, "Oh, well, these guys are back,"
yep.
you know. And I mean, there was one night, Brandon, I think it was me, Brandon, and my dad. We went out and called a couple stands, and we didn't kill squat. And I kick on a baby pig distress. We don't even have pigs in Kansas. And we killed a double over the pig sound. So that next day, I went out and bought like every pig sound Rick had because that's when I had my lucky duck, and I
Yeah.
had all the pigs on there. I
Uh,
would go through a sequence of just pigs. I mean, you could play some off the rails stuff. Like we don't have woodpeckers here. We don't even have trees. But I've killed a lot of coyotes on a woodpecker sound. You know.
my weirdest
Novelty.
electronic call kill. What I have a Manus, like a cheap ass $80 electronic call, and I kill a coyote off of a lamb bleat with crows playing over the top. I came in on a rope. I'm like, never had it happen again. But yeah, lamb bleat and crows.
The Icotech calls are pretty good.
Yeah.
I like them. You can
Brandon
order
had
them.
one of those when you guys came out here, right?
Yeah. But if I was to order Icotech, I would buy it direct from like Tony TV, where you get a bunch of Tony TV sounds.
Okay.
But see, that's where the call deal is kind of different. So, like if you want Rick Paulette sounds, you have to buy a Lucky Duck to get Rick sounds. They only work on the Lucky Ducks. It's the coding. If you want MFK sounds, you have to buy a Fox Pro.
Yeah, it's all proprietary.
Yeah.
With all signed contracts.
But Tony TV, he'll let you put his sounds on anything. So, that's and he makes some really good sounds. So,
Yeah, that's all right. Electronic calls, they vary in price, and I think the king of the fucking dollar amount that you will spend on a call is the Freak.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was that the brothers that we were talking about.
Yeah, Burnham Brothers.
Burnham Brothers. So kind of give us a rundown on the Freak, because that was the hottest of the hot shit 2 years ago.
Oh man, I doubt. So I guess I tell people being a meth head is probably cheaper than being a coyote hunter, because I'm on every coyote group. My wife was happy I was doing this deal, so I had somebody else to talk to about killing coyotes. I honestly, to people that don't coyote hunt, I'm probably a very boring person, because I got 3 things I'll talk to you about: cow, horses, and killing coyotes.
Yeah.
But no, so that Freak, they developed that for a long time, and they're saying how there's these high frequencies and animals can hear it all these different frequencies, which makes sense. I mean, you blow a dog whistle,
Yep,
and that dog can hear it, but you can't. So I mean, that makes sense. But I think where they did things wrong is their remote. Not for a $2,000 call.
Yeah,
that remote should be way better than the remote they got.
the Freak is $2,000.
I honestly think my nephew's little control car's got a nicer remote on it than that damn Freak. I mean but no, I don't know. I think it was a really good concept, and I hope they keep working at it, and I hope they keep
Yeah.
making sounds, because I know there's some, like, there's some guys in Texas. Of course, it depends on who you talk to about Texas, but there's some guys that dang sure kill stuff with them. But there's two guys up here that own them, and Brandon's one of them. And there's times I'm like, hey, leave that some bitch in the pickup so we can kill something.
Yeah.
And we pull out the call that's $550, and so I don't know. I think it was a good concept. I just wish they would have done it better. And that sucker is so heavy. Like, I would never carry it daytime hunting. There's times I got to walk 1.5 miles into a stand just to get away from my pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not carry that big blocky sucker 1.5 miles
It is
to call
big.
a stand.
It's like carrying around one of those karaoke machines.
Yeah.
Like the older karaoke machines
Yeah.
with a little CD player. It's pretty well that size.
Yeah.
But
I
think it has the potential.
Oh, I do too.
I just think $2,000 is
honestly
insane.
though. I don't know. I don't know anything about business necessarily, but if I was them, I think I'd start looking at contest results and call some of them guys that are consistently in that top 10 and go, hey, run one of these for like 2 months and tell us what you think.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. Which honestly, as long as they had to develop it, like I know that Gary Roberson, he spent a long time working on that. He's got videos. I mean, they kill mountain lions over him and all kinds of stuff, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big believer in it for the price tag. The second highest call now to that would be that new Fox Pro 360. Have you seen that one?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're like what, $1,200?
Yeah, they're about 12.
Yeah.
But if you're getting into electronic calls, I'd say 400 to 500 is about your minimum that you want to start in. I have a $200 call, and it shows. So it's yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to spend some money to get an electronic call.
Yeah, my buddy's got one of those Super Revolts that, I mean, he's had to rebuild the main like computer board and put a new speaker in it. And but I mean, shoot, there was one night he and I went hunting together. We literally like taped it to the top of my buddy's cake box and drove around on ranch roads with it all night calling. I mean, if you want a call that's been beat to death that will still work, I'd recommend like that Lucky Duck Roughneck or something like that, because they do take a beating.
Yeah, you can find the Roughnecks pretty decent.
Yeah, and the used ones, I hate that there's so many scams on Facebook, because there's so many guys that get fed up with not killing coyotes and they sell their stuff pretty cheap on Facebook. That's usually where I try to buy my stuff, honestly, is because I've been used like 4 times, and most of them guys starting out, I mean, honestly, for a guy that's starting out coyote hunting, I would say go buy you a couple hand calls and a DVD.
Practice at your house.
Yeah.
Don't practice in the field. Practice at your house.
Oh, and if you got a dog, watch him.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you got 2 dogs out, go kick them out, watch them play in the yard, and you'll learn kind of how those coyotes think.
Last thing I need is to drive my wife's wiener dog even more neurotic by making coyote sounds at her. The fucking dog just be like,
And then as far as calling in bobcats, I mean, I've had bobcats coming in on a string in the daytime and just like freaking see a blade of grass they liked and turn and forget all about me.
Now, bobcats are kind of different because with cats, you don't have to worry about the wind as much, right?
No, I mean, I've had cats 10 yards from me straight downwind, just sitting there looking at me like, oh, what are we watching for?
Yeah. That's of interest to me, because forget trapping them.
Yeah.
Too freaking hard up here. I just start calling them.
Well, don't you guys have like a bunch of rules with your trapping? Like, isn't it
All has to
trapping,
be
but it's
live.
like trapping with handcuffs on?
It all
Yes.
has to be live cage traps. So
So you can't run the good old
36
offset 550s and 650s and
all cage traps.
Pretty well a wildlife kennel.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's exactly what they are.
There's an art to that cage trapping cats, so
That there is, but it's one of those things where I don't have the time or patience for that art.
But
I'd rather learn to sit around the house and practice calls and then go up and do it rather than spending a whole week checking traps over and over and over.
I like calling them in Nebraska at 2 a.m. There's very little effort at that point. Maybe a couple cups of coffee and some Red Bull or something, and you got a bobcat.
Maybe I need to go to Nebraska then.
Because
we can't. I mean, okay, you could spotlight them on public if it's after all of our rifle seasons have ended, which is when bobcat season is anyway, and with a permission slip.
Yeah.
Gee, we've called them in the daytime in Nebraska.
Well, you can do a daytime all day long here too, but
I love daytime calling cats because you just sit there for an hour and pretty much just total paranoia at all times.
Yeah. You'll see one ear flick at like 10 yards and it's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah. I'll bet he's been there for an hour.
Yeah.
clever girl.
Hell, he's probably been here since I got here.
Clever girl.
The first cat I ever shot calling, he was literally under a cedar tree about 50 yards away. And the only reason I saw him is he moved his head from here to here. Like he just did that much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I saw him. But I mean, he was just sitting under a cedar tree. I don't know how long he was there, but I had a little turkey feather on a stick out there for a decoy, and he was just sitting there watching it.
Well, I will be right back. I gotta go deal with kids real quick.
Good luck.
Oh, here I thought he just drank too many Keystones. And
He really had to go pee, but he just didn't want to tell people that.
So you've called in bobcats. You don't have, do you have mountain lions out your way?
No.
Okay.
Well, the state says we don't, but we've got a lot of bow hunt and trail cameras that say otherwise. Today in Kansas, today on the news in Kansas City, there was a warning about people going out of their houses because there's a black bear spotted near a Taco Bell in Kansas City, Kansas.
Oh no.
So
I was just talking to a homeowner today. This had to be freaking 10 years ago. Working on a job site up by the mountains. Every freaking Tuesday for 2-3 weeks in a row we were there. They put trash cans out. Black bear would just waddle down the road, knock over one after the other, looking for snacks.
Hey, he's working for a living. He's working for a living. Leave him alone.
There's a bear by the Taco Bell. Don't go outside your home.
Yeah. One thing I learned when I was guiding in Montana is there's a big difference between Montanans and bears, dealing with bears, and Colorado people dealing with bears. Like, I've met some people in Colorado and they're like, oh, the bears were here first. Then boys in Montana, they're like, get off my lawn, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of, we've got a lot of black bears, especially down in Colorado Springs area on the west side of town who they make the trip down into town a lot. And I've worked for people down there who are all excited because the bears are in their yard. I'm just thinking, hey, it's my yard. And if it wasn't cool, I'd be out there with the crossbow going, hold still, you fucking bear.
Yeah, they're excited till little Fluffy disappears.
Yeah.
But
no. So you got it up in Montana then?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yep. I got it up there for 3 years. Black bears. We called them black bears with predator calls. And then I did elk hunts for 1 year.
Okay.
And then the first time I ever saw somebody fly fish in person, my boss told me I was guiding fly fishermen. Because at that point I thought I'd been hired on to, like, you know, run a pack string and kind of take care of his little cow herd he had. And I pack in for these guys and I'm dumping this stuff off and I'm like, all right, I'm going to head back to the trailhead. And he goes, why? You're staying here. You got to take these fly fishermen out in the morning. I'm like, what are you talking about?
What kind of fishing again? Wait a minute.
So we walked over to a chunk of river and I just sat under a tree. I was like, well, here's the river. I was told to stay here so you don't die.
See any grizzlies up there?
Yeah. Called one in one time, guiding a black bear hunt. We got him to about 50 yards. I've never seen an arrow in a rest shake as bad as that bow hunter's arrow was shaking in that rest in my life because I just kept lip squeaking at him. I'm like, dude, you don't even know we're here. Just relax.
I would be like, I'm not sure. What of all the things somebody shoot a fucking black grizzly bear with, a bow is probably not one of them.
No, that wouldn't be on my list. But yeah, I just kept kind of giving him the old, and that suckered look. But it was pretty cool because when he finally ran off, it's crazy how those grizzlies go through that fence. So like it was a 6-wire fence, and he literally took his front legs and like split that wire and just crawled through it. It was insane.
Oh.
We complain about the whitetails being hard on fence here.
What about the fucking bears?
Yeah, he's just gonna stretch it for you. Not the right way, but he'll stretch it.
Well, everything in both directions is nice and taut. Now you just have the one loose section.
But yeah, I guided wolf hunts for 2 years, and the biggest wolf I've ever seen in my life, I had an elk hunter with me that was like a conscientious objector to shooting wolves or coyotes.
Oh.
And I could not get the gun away from him, and I figured I'd get fired if I like knocked him over. And I had a Glock 20 and 10 millimeter, and I was trying to figure out where I'd have to hold to hit him. And this guy was like, no, I've worked with wolves in movies. They're majestic. I'm like, let's shoot that son of a buck, you know?
Yeah, they're majestic till they're fucking eating somebody.
I've got a mule I got a mule that's calm enough to carry one out, and he's tied 100 yards behind us. Like, we'll be back at camp before dark. Let's shoot him. But apparently that wasn't. No, I did call one in for a guy. I figured it up. We rode about 45 miles horseback howling and trolling the countryside. Jesus. And we finally had a response, and I'm going to call him called in. Some purists wouldn't because he was outside of like 400 yards. But dadgummit, he stepped out and looked at us, and you know, that was more than what most people will probably ever see. So,
yeah.
So for calling wolves, then you're just trying to cover as much ground as possible.
Yeah, and you're literally just howling
the whole time.
Yeah, you're just howling, trying to set off that territorial response. You know, with a coyote, when you first howl on stand, like I like to do what they call an interrogation howl, which is kind of like, "Hey, I'm here," you know, like. You know, because you might have some young pups around that you don't want to scare off, especially September, October, November. But with wolves, it's like, you know, them videos of like John Cena kicking down a door or whatever. That's kind of how you want to be. Like, I'm here. Let's dance.
Oh, that's one thing that I didn't talk about. What's your call cadence? And I guess we could talk about it with the wolves too. But like, how often do you call?
Okay, so. Nighttime, it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in. But generally, like if I got other guys like with you guys, I was being kind of conservative because, you know, we're trying to kill coyotes and it wasn't contest hunting, and it's hard for me to get out of that mindset once I've gone to a few. But like when I'm fun hunting, I'll let out a howl and I'll sit there for 2 minutes. Gotcha. Like just a howl sequence, just 3 howls, just an interrogation howl, which is a long howl, a short bark, another howl, maybe another bark, maybe not, and then one more howl, and then I'll just let it be quiet for 3 or 4 minutes. And then if they start talking to me, if I kind of got an idea where they are, I might just pack my stuff and go to them.
Yeah.
If I don't get a reply, I'll do like an answer howl, trying to sound like a younger pup or a female. of course, I'm not talking like breeding season, and then for my part of the world, I try to avoid rabbit sounds at all costs. But, after 5 or 6 minutes of those two howls, I'll go into some bird distress. I really like the woodpecker and nutty nuthatch and stuff like that. And then I'll play some off the wall rabbit.
Mhm.
Another one I like is if I'm hunting close to a farmstead that I know has chickens, I've got a chicken sound on my call. I'll play a chicken sound, or like barn cat distress. That one sounds like you were straight up stomping a bag full of cats, but it works.
Yeah.
It is awful. Like if you got a homeowner close by, be ready for all the lights in the house to come on because they probably think little Fluffy is getting murdered in their front yard. And then after that, I usually try to do like a minute or two, because if you think about the lungs, like the size of my lungs compared to like the size of like a cat or bird, they're not very damn big.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've ever had to watch a rabbit struggle or accidentally slammed your dog's tail in a tailgate or something, like they yip, but they aren't, some of them guys will sit there yip, 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 like 3-4 minutes on a mouth call. I'm like, dude, your dog can't do that. Like 30, 45 seconds, shut up. Go again, 30, 45 seconds. Just wait it out. And then if nothing's coming by that point, then I like to do pup distress, kind of a not as aggressive pup distress, which I say that out loud. All distress is pretty aggressive, but pup distress. And then I go to like fights, like, they're fighting over food or something like that. Because at that point, you're just looking for that territorial response. And then that's kind of, then pack your stuff and go try again.
Yep.
And
know when to call it quits.
Yeah. I've killed coyotes at the 30-minute mark, but that's because I knew they were there.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of staying hooked just because, they'd talk to me and I knew they weren't 400 yards away. So I was just staying hooked because I knew it was a matter of time for one of them, at the very least, just poked his head up at me,
Yeah.
But
final look.
Yeah, fine.
So do you do same thing with wolves? About 2 minutes apart?
No, wolves, you sit there.
Wait?
Wolves are more like a bobcat. You're going to sit there for an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And once they've decided to come in, once you got them good and mad, they don't give a shit about the wind, and that's what gets sketchy about them if you do happen to get them in close.
Yeah, they're just, we're going to go fuck this guy's shit up.
Yeah, they're like, yo.
Smells like a human. I don't fucking care. We're going to kill him.
Yeah, we're going to fight you. We're going to fight your mama. Then we're going to run your horses off.
Fuck. Should have brought Rhonda the Honda.
Yeah, the Bob Marshall Wilderness is another place it's real hard to hitchhike in at 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
So,
look for a spot and scope at a hunter 6 miles away, and it's like, oh yeah, he doesn't have a cart either. Cool.
Boy, it seemed like a really good spot. You know what made me more mad about guiding, and still makes me mad about guiding deer hunters, is when those deer stand in the middle of the 2-track, like on those ranch roads, and the guy freaking misses or just absolutely gut punches him, and he runs into the wooliest canyon we got. And I'm thinking, gosh dang it. Do you suckers not spine anything? Like, come on, man.
Aim high, goddammit.
But it's you get pretty good at blood trailing if you decide to start guiding.
What is the most frequent thing that you see hunters fuck up with while you're guiding? Like a piece of gear that they didn't bring?
Too big a caliber.
Too big a caliber? Okay. I didn't see that one coming at all.
Yeah, when I was guiding elk hunts and bear hunts, these guys would have these great big like 30-338 Weatherbees, and and these 300 Win Mags, but they buy these lightweight mountain rifles that they were scared to death of, and you could tell they were scared to death of them.
Yeah.
Because those lightweight guns, yeah, they're great and all, but I mean, I'm fat and unmotivated, but shit, I'll go take a walk with a 50-pound pack on so I can carry my 20-pound gun.
Yeah.
Like just shoot a caliber that I'd rather see a guy come out there with. This is probably going to make you Colorado boys mad, but I'd rather see a guy show up with a 6 Creed that looks like it's rode on the dashboard its whole life than the guy that pulls the Cabela's tags off a freaking 300 Win Mag.
Yeah.
If you can put the shot in the right place, then put the shot in the right place. But
yeah, if you can be precise.
If you showed up with the rifle, you've shot you shot it. Yeah, I shoot like 4 freaking times before you showed up.
The other thing that made me flinch was those guys that show up and go, well, I sighted in on paper at 25 yards. I'm like, so do you know where you're hitting past there? No, but according to what I read, I'm like, oh God, here we go. I should be dead on it too. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
And usually that's the guy that you get the big bull on the Forest Service trail, which again just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Like right there on the Forest Service trail, broadside, like where you could lace one right in the spine, where you can just do everything right there and get the mules right to him. And you watch the branch and the squirrel that's like 5 feet above him fall to their fate. And it's like, come on, boys.
Well, you're about 4 feet high.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a hunter one time. 30. He missed this bull like 4 times. He looked at me. He's like, so where are we going now? I was like, I'm going back to camp. I don't know what you're doing.
This whole fucking canyon's lit up with gunfire.
Oh, yeah. He fired like 5 rounds. And he had this big old muzzle brake on there. And my right ear still rings a little bit from that deal. Because, I mean, he was like, right there when he touched that first round off. Because we were just walking back to the horses. And this bull just jumped up on the trail. And so he's actually shooting back towards the horses. Looking back, it was a miracle he didn't kill a horse.
Fuck.
Because I definitely would have made him walk back to camp. But I still did anyway. Because we get back to the horses, he's like, well, can we go hunt? When you're guiding, we're guiding in the Bob Marshall Wilderness. So, we got nicknames for all of our little places.
Mm-hmm.
Which sadly all that country burned up. But there ain't no elk in the Bob anymore anyway. Doesn't seem like. Maybe Montana Dirt Roads can tell you otherwise, but the last couple of years I was up there wasn't. And but we get back to the horses and he goes, so can we go to this spot? I was like, hey, you see that finger right there? He goes, yeah. I said, that goes right into camp. Just still hunted all the way. And I took them horses and I rode back to camp, took a nap because I was done.
If I hear a shot, I'll come looking for you.
His brother was with the other guide. He gut punched a bull the next day, and we were crawling on our hands and knees following this blood trail, and somebody give us a $25 tip each and a handshake.
Oh, fuck him.
That was, this is how bad elk hunting guiding was for me, because I hate hunting stuff that, like, I don't like hunting deer. I don't like hunting. I don't like hunting animals that you can pattern. Like deer are going to be on wheat fields at night. It don't take a head cashier at Walmart to figure that out. Elk, they're going to be in a meadow at some point in the day grazing. Like they got to get up and eat. And they're still in there, probably over there on the east side on the Sun River.
Yeah, elk in the Bob. We're on
the
east side now, huh?
Yeah. Over there by, I don't want to name Montana spot if that's where he hunts, so I won't say it on here. I felt bad. I felt bad for all the Oklahoma guys when Steve. Sorry, this is way off topic, Dave. Just cut me off if I'm doing bad here.
We don't have topics, sir.
I felt so bad for them Oklahoma guys where there's not a lot of public land, and Steve Ranella comes in there, bow hunts it, and shows the Onyx pin on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Bro. I didn't feel as bad when they were hunting up here in the Panhandle. by the mesa because it's
Yeah.
all private up here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, you can see the mesa in the background. I'm like, I can see that from my house.
You just made a guy's land payment, son, because somebody's going to
Exactly.
come write you a check.
Yep.
It's like off that show. Actually, I was watching it when you text me, The Righteous Gemstones. There will be a payday, you know. That's all that does for those areas.
Yeah.
But that was like when Tiffany Lasky or whatever killed that great big deer not too far from here. Shoot, everything around here got leased up.
Mm-hmm.
That's when everybody around here started hunting coyotes.
Where do you stand on leases? Hunt leases as a guide and as a hunter. I mean,
in my mind, for farmers and as well, here's the bad part. I'm on the rancher side too.
Yeah,
because I gotta make land payments, and those suckers eat my grass and eat my commodities the same as my cows. So if somebody's willing to pay me to come play, you dang right. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like as long as that check clears the bank, have at her. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think what scares me is I think all the money that's in this contest deal. You know, I got into coyote hunting out of necessity, but I also got in it because you could knock on everybody's doors. But now with all the money in these contests, there are guys around here now that are starting to lease ground just to hunt contest.
They're leasing ground to hunt coyotes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when you know we've done to ourselves exactly what the deer hunters did to themselves. And I'm not necessarily saying like Joe Blow that's going out there and killing a couple does a year to feed his kids. I'm talking about the TV guys and stuff like that, because you know that. But I wish there was more restrictions in Kansas, like as far as the out of state guys, because like the waterfowl guys are kind of like the coyote hunters in my mind. And you know, we've got some pretty good public waterfowl that you can outfit on it.
Mm-hmm.
And those outfitters will come in and have those blinds all claimed. So none of the local, like I know local guys that live 20 minutes away from some of the public around here that haven't hunted in years because they can't get on it. So that stuff,
that's kind of like
sucks.
private public ground.
Yeah,
at that point.
They might as well just put their damn business cards on the sign, because shit, that's the only way you're getting in the son of a bitch anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I think the leasing deal's good because I know it's saved a lot of places.
Yeah.
But I wish that there was more Kansas outfitters getting a shot, or more guys willing to do it to maybe help kind of keep it in our state. Guys that understand that, you know, the brush needs to be managed, or, you know, shit like that. Because, you know, Mossy Oak owns a bunch of ground not too far from here, and I bet they haven't cut a freaking tree in years. And every year about March, when those winds start blowing, I just think, dear Lord, please do not let any sparks start in that thing, because we will not get it stopped.
Yeah.
You know,
because you're a volunteer firefighter too.
Oh, not really. I have my own truck and I just show up. I'm like the cousin Eddie of the volunteers.
Don't you go falling in love with it, because we're gonna take it with us when we leave here next month.
Yeah. I'm like the guy they just expect to show up a little late and
slightly inebriated.
Maybe mostly in the way most of the time, but I got what I lack in knowledge and ability, I make up for in trying enthusiasm. So
yeah, I got water and a hose.
and I know where to drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's
I've
just
thought about it too.
The mismanagement of ground is just piss poor in my opinion. But you know, I'm looking at it from a cowman's deal. I'm looking at acreage that's wasted. They aren't making more ground, you know.
Yeah.
And when they're paying twice what that grass is worth, all it does is drive up our taxes, and and then these local guys wonder why the hell we got to lease shit. It's because we can't. Hell, our operating costs just tripled because the asshole down the road that's out of state that just bought 2 sections for way more than it's worth.
Yeah. And you get, if you lease ground, you have guys walking around on your shit for 2-3 months. Then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they leave and they don't kill any of the coyotes. They don't shoot a doe. They won't shoot a doe. They're like that one guy with the wolf. They're conscientious objectors. And then, them local kids that want to go hunt does on their stuff in January, they got those contracts so sealed up that those guys can't get on it no matter what, So
shut my fucking gates. Don't shoot my fucking cows. Have at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wanted to go buy a semi pot load of Mexican fighting bulls and just kick them out on a couple pastures opening day of rifle season.
Leave that gate open, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. I dare you. These sumbutts will be in downtown Garden City by the night. Hell, they'll be at Dave's house by morning. And there'll just be a whole line of Utah tags just running away into the sunset.
Like, son of a bitch, when did Springfield have a wedding of the bulls?
Yeah. That's just called Wednesday.
It's the day everybody's trying to get home from the sale barn.
As a guy that has been, the only time I've ever been on the Springfield golf course was on horseback pushing cows off of it because they broke jail.
I roped a bucking bull in college on the country club golf course in Hayes that was still flanked during the college golf tournament.
He's still
flanked? And
flanked?
He was still flanked. Yeah, he jumped out of the arena.
Holy shit.
We were bucking some calves for a guy, and he jumped out of the arena and then he jumped the 5-wire, and he was among them. Like, they had a college golf tournament going on, and this sucker is treeing people where there's no trees. I didn't know golfers were athletes until that point. I get this sunbuck rope, and this lady comes up. And she says, "Is he mean?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
But then one of the guys goes, "Why don't you bring some gentle ones?" I said, "Hell, this is the gentle one." I said, "We got 5 more to buck."
Like, shit, I didn't know a golf cart could drive that fast.
Yeah, golf now it's a sport.
Oh shit, that's the one thing in the world that actually might make me watch golf. Is if you turned a few bulls loose on the golf course.
Yeah,
while the one's playing through.
Today on the PGA Tour, we have a rodeo mishap.
And Tiger Woods teeing off. Holy shit, where did he come from?
Like, forget about getting your ball in the bunker. You hit your ball and it smacked that fucking ball on the side. Now you gotta go play it where it lies.
Mulligan.
Yeah. That was the first time I'd ever been on a golf course, and boy, they pretty proud of their grass, huh, Dave?
Mm-hmm. Well, we have sand greens here, so we just have 9 litter boxes.
Hayes, Kansas is an oil town, if that tells you what their golf course looks like.
The White House lawn.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, it was real nice. I just kept hoping that son of a buck could put his head down and eat while we were getting a trailer drove around there to drag him on.
He's like, "I'm not eating that shit. Come on."
Well, this guy comes up yelling and cussing at us. He's like, "Can you lead him out of here?" I said, "You gonna run in front of him for me?"
Pro Bull GA Tour.
And yeah, it really escalated quickly. But when I was a rodeo coach at the college, we had our bucking bull pen, like that fence, the other side was the golf course. So we had cattle get out on it all the time. They were just used to us at that point. But
fertilizer, man.
Yeah.
And one hell of a picture backdrop.
Yeah, so majestic standing up there on the hill, just staring them down,
Rodeo time ain't got shit on this.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
well, what advice would you give to, one, a guy getting in hunting coyotes, 2, a guy getting into using thermals, I guess for recreational thermal use?
Okay.
And 3, what would you give a guy that is going to hire a guide
Okay.
for the
So,
game?
okay. I've been hitting the head a lot, so bear with me on the memory here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So one was a guy that was getting into coyote hunting.
Yeah.
Don't. It's
All right.
cheaper.
Fair, but let's just assume he has.
For what I've spent chasing coyotes, you could probably go shoot a moose in Canada every year. But anyway,
Probably.
no, use the gun you got, you know, unless it's just something stupid big. Get you a good set of shooting sticks. Get a little pad you can sit on.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to find there's everywhere you go, there's some old guy sitting in the coffee shop that probably is a straight up killer that you don't even know about.
100%.
Go ask that guy to take you, but before you ask him to go with him, make sure you go knock on some doors and get your own shit, because he probably ain't going to take you to his.
Yeah.
Especially if he don't know you. But the other deal, YouTube now, that is a pretty neat tool. Get on YouTube, and the guys I would watch, honestly, like Jeff Nimick talks so much during those episodes now. He'll break it down for you. Just study a lot. But don't spend a lot of money on gear right away. That's where a lot of guys get burnt out. They go spend all this money on gear and then they don't kill nothing.
Yeah.
And they get down in the dumps. So just use what you got. Go buy you a couple mouth calls. Learn how to use them. Learn to make them work. And the reason I say hand calls is it will, one, you'll learn the mechanics of how a coyote stand works better when you're the focal point.
Mm-hmm.
And the other reason is I don't know, maybe I'm just grouchy and old school, but I think all guys should have to start with hand calls.
I think it's a rite of passage going to an electronic call.
Well, and you know, I don't know. I remember more of my hand called coyotes than I do my over an e-call, you know. Like the first bobcat I killed in the daytime with a hand call, like you'd have thought I won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the smallest kitten you've ever seen. Like this sucker probably weighed 12 pounds. And I absolutely, that 12 gauge 3-inch double up buck tore him to shreds. I took him to the deal to get tagged. And I was afraid I was going to have to tape him to like keep him all together before I tagged him. Cause it was rough.
You want to tag something you ran over?
Yeah, sir, this is roadkill. I'm like, no, I called him.
Yeah. There's something so satisfying to calling in something with just yourself, like the sounds that you're making as a person. You are calling in an animal. That goes for elk. That goes for geese. All that stuff. But predator hunting is a little different in my heart.
Yeah.
And having a coyote come in on a fucking rope from you just mouth kissing.
Yeah. Practice your lip squeaks, because lip squeaks are money, especially in daytime. The other deal I'd say is don't overcall at first. Guys want to just sit there and blow because they don't feel like they're doing nothing if they aren't blowing on that call. And then just be a good woodsman. Don't skyline yourself. Know how your wind is. And, you know, you can kill a lot of coyotes on public land if you walk just a quarter of a mile further than 90% of the people there will.
Yep.
You know, I used to go hunt some grasslands over west of here, and I'd just park and walk out in them and shoot. We killed coyotes out there like it was private land, you know. So, and I know there's quite a few guys that call that stuff. It's actually probably not too far from you, Dave, over by Elkhart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You thought I was coming on to your stuff, huh?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
And the other thing is, if a guy takes you, don't go back and ask for permission without him, because that's how you become dead to people.
Mm-hmm.
So, But no, I'd say as far as beginners, just woodsmanship, wind, sit in the shadows if you can, sun at your back, ideally, and just don't overthink shit. Just go have fun, and worst comes to worst, you'll figure it out. And if you don't, and you absolutely hate it, just sell your stuff online and maybe go take up running with the bulls and playing golf. I don't know. And then getting into thermal, as far as that goes, what I would say is
we do have some listeners that live in states where it's easier to get good optics than it is a gun whatsoever. So,
okay,
they spend their money on glass.
okay.
So,
What I would recommend as far as thermal is, with all these tariffs and shit, I really don't know what number to throw out, but the 384 by 288 is all the smaller I'd go.
yeah.
If you hunt real open country, 3 4 power base mag. Now that's just and it depends on what you're doing. If you're shooting pigs, 1 power, 2 power, 384, like those Ricks, those S3 Storms,
Yeah.
they've got high base mag on them. That's the only kicker to them. But those little S3 Storms, I got a buddy in Nebraska. He kills the shit out of stuff with one of them. And I think that's what, like under $2,000 call, I think,
Yeah.
or $2,000 thermal.
Yeah, they're not terrible at all, especially for a thermal.
I mean, up until this winter, the thermal on my gun, my main calling gun was a 384. And the reason I refused to get a 640 unit was because that 384 had a 4 power base mag. And I don't jack with zoom ever. So,
yeah.
The other thing I'd say is, like, I got bad eyes, so I use those prism optics.
Yep.
Practice with one of them shooting a distance, because that's about what a thermal is. It's, now iRay makes some really cool stuff that's got that digital zoom and stuff. But when I first started shooting with thermals, like, you hit that zoom button and stuff was about to get really blurry really fast.
Yeah.
That's a good tip, I think, using prisms.
And on my daytime calling rig for a long time, I just had a 5 power, I think it was like a Burris prism scope.
Mm-hmm.
But then I switched back over to bolt gun because I don't like cleaning guns, and I don't take care of my stuff. So I had to go. I went to a 3-18, and I'm pretty sure I just put it on 6 power and leave it. So, but yeah, and then another deal I'd say on thermal is just read that owner's manual. I know most of us like throwing that shit in the trash, but read it, because, like, I had a friend that was fighting his zero on his thermal. He's about to send it back to the factory, and all he was doing was just not hitting the save button on his coordinates. Like, that was all he was lacking, Sam. He'd sight that thing in. He'd go, man, we'll go out and hunt all night. It's good. And I shut that son of a bitch off and turn it on. I can't hit the broadside of a barn.
It's always low left. I don't understand.
Yeah, and this is just a joke, so don't take it personal, but friends don't let friends buy ATN, so. And don't ever say on a predator hunting page, so I just bought a really good ATN, because you will get verbally assaulted on there. I've got so many memes saved in my camera roll of, I got a picture of this guy that's got like some dead calves on a loader at a feed yard, and it says, well, the ATN boys had a good night tonight, shit like that. So
we don't have to go into this super deep, but ATN's pretty, I don't know if they're like super new, but they're relatively new to the thermal game. But they've been in night vision for a while.
Oh, their night vision stuff, I think's good. Yeah. Have you seen that Coyote Down on YouTube? Look up Coyote Down, Dave. It's a guy and his wife and his daughter, and they kill the shit out of some daytime coyotes. And all that footage that's recorded through their scope is using those ATN day-night scopes, and it is phenomenal footage.
Which I think is a great option for a guy that's getting into coyote hunting, if they don't want to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a thermal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that Ricks, I don't know. It'd be kind of hard for me to swallow my pride and buy the by the one.
But
And
for $800 versus
yeah,
yeah,
but I don't
if you're
know.
balling on a budget.
You'll enjoy it so much better if you can see further, like I felt bad for Vince that night because you and I are sitting there on that couch. We shot far away.
Yeah.
And you and I are side by side, and Vince was on the other side of me, and I'm like, all right, everybody ready? And I'm counting it down. Vince goes, I can't even see that coyote. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it, Vince.
Just shoot that way.
Which I'm not
hit the
talking
one
shit
in the
on
middle,
Vince
Rock.
because he owns the thermal, and I was borrowing one graciously.
Well, that's another deal. If you got like a local dealer, which I know thermal dealers aren't really common, but they're getting more common. If there's anybody that lives like northeast Nebraska, there's a place called Foxhole Armament, and they have a thermal tryout deal where they mount thermals on a bunch of different guns, and you pull up to the range and you can look through everything.
Well, that's cool.
But what I would recommend for the sake of your heart is do not look at anything that's like $2 or $3 grand over your price budget. Because all of a sudden you'll start thinking, man, if I donate plasma this many times a week.
Do I really need 2 kidneys? I think I can get by with one.
Straight back to college days.
You want a check? Oh, I thought you wanted money. Here.
Yeah, I'll just pay the whole thing off right now.
So, yeah, but that's the deal on that. And then what was the other one? Hiring a guide?
Yeah, if somebody is going to go hunt and they're going to hire a guide, what advice would you give them? Definitely
hire the outfitter that is willing to give you old clients' numbers.
Okay.
Beware of the one who will not give you that information. Because, I mean, when you can actually talk to guys that have been on those hunts and understand, I mean, guys that have been on those hunts that aren't just full of shit will tell you exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe him, he'll get 2 or 3 more numbers, Do your research on them, especially if you've been saving up for a lot of years for like that once in a lifetime hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I would really research, and I don't know. I guess if you can, like, go to those shows or whatever and kind of talk to them guys, go meet them, see if you'll get along with them. Because, I mean, you think about it, you're going to be stuck in a tent with that son of a buck for at least 10 days, depending on what hunt you're doing, Like, when I first started doing my deal, those guys stayed in my basement. So, like, we either got along good or we didn't, But I'm still convinced that whitetail archery hunters that is the worst thing to put up with. No offense to any of the bow hunters. Not that there's probably anybody watching this anymore because they're tired of my dumb ass talking, but
the problem is the people who watch this shit live, most of them are on the freaking East Coast. They're all fucking passed out by now.
Yeah.
But we did have a question pop up actually.
All right.
Ty, what's your opinion on using dogs for coyotes?
Like greyhounds or decoy dogs? Because I've got decoy dogs.
I think he's going towards greyhound.
Greyhounds? Boy, it depends on if I got yearlings kicked out on weed or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I those guys put a hell of a lot of work into those greyhounds.
And
decoys,
I'm sorry.
Oh, decoy dogs? Yeah, you bet. There's nothing cooler than having one of them big old females come in screaming at your dog. And to train a pup, like the second you get them, just make them your friend. Don't let them around anybody else, and put one of those shock collars on them and just hit that beep. And every time they've got that beep, just make sure they're learning to come right back to you. That's about all it takes to train a decoy dog. Because they come by that fight kind of naturally. So, but yeah,
watching the videos of decoy dogs are insane. You're like 8 feet from a snarled up coyote.
Yeah, that is screaming in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I had a buddy that he and I used to go quite a bit and do that deal. And then he went from 1 kid to 3 like overnight. And all of a sudden the decoy dogging deal, all of a sudden the dog was for sale and we weren't going anymore. But yeah, we used to go quite a bit. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, anytime you're in open ass country and you're shotgunning coyotes, like that's a good time. The only thing that kills decoy dogging for me anymore is the more this no-till farming goes, and I don't think they go hand in hand, and this isn't a conspiracy show, but we got a hell of a lot more rattlesnakes when guys started no-till farming. So just a theory there.
Valid.
And out here, these guys, like, we've got coyotes on this no-till country. Those coyotes, they'll den up out in the middle of those wheat fields. So,
yeah.
I mean, but yeah, if you do your homework, you got some dens, you're 300-400 yards away, and you let out that first howl, they poke their head up and see that dog, like, it is on. Al Morris has got some really good footage of that on that Fox Pro show.
okay.
And then dogging with Levi, he's a Montana boy. He kills a lot of coyotes decoy dogging.
Yeah, Montana Dirt Roads actually mentioned dogging with Levi. So
yeah, he's got some good dogs too.
Okay, we have some questions that we ask every guest. What is your dream hunt?
Oh man, that I just read the other day that we can thermal hunt wolves, and I want to do it on the ground with a tripod, just by myself, hand calling. I want to call in a whole pack and just see how it works out.
Let her have it.
There's
That
fucking 10 of them. All right.
That or call in a Kodiak with a predator call, with a hand call, and a shotgun.
Bernicky fucking Magnum slugs and
yeah, just
what happens.
Just slug buck, and let her ride. Just see how it works out. You know. I call that my like nursing home hunt. You
know. What would you call your biggest win so far while out hunting?
Whew. I don't know. Like, as far as financially, probably that hunt with Brandon we won this last winter.
Yeah.
But I mean, the first night that I don't know, probably my favorite one for sure was finally getting my dad on a good deer. Like, you know, now I kind of put him in a situation where he had to shoot him, because usually he lets other people shoot the big ones. But, you know, when they're about to run you over, you don't have time to give the gun to somebody else. So
yeah,
we busted out the good old fashioned deer drive tactics. I just didn't tell him I was going to go bust that draw for him. So, but that's why we wear orange, kids. Wear your orange.
Damn right. Deer drives wear orange.
But yeah, I mean, it was like 160-inch deer. It was pretty awesome. So
whitetail.
Yeah, and my dad is like the opposite of me. He's real quiet, and he don't ever smile. And he almost smiled, and that made it all worth it. Like, he almost smiled.
He grinned.
I've even got a picture of him almost smiling. So
that's awesome. That's wholesome right there.
Yeah, it was a good one. But yeah, financially, I mean, that one this last winter sure helped my bank account. So
yeah, you're like, cool.
Yeah. It's like that South Park episode though, and it's gone. So
I got all this money to pay for my thermal. Now I'm buying another thermal.
Well, it's even worse when one of your teammates sells suppressors and thermals, and he's the one you call to run ideas by. That is so stupid.
Yeah,
I need to start calling you, Dave. My bank account would probably be healthier because Brandon's like, oh yeah, and then we could do this and this. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Next thing you know, I'm like, shit, I'm writing him a check again.
God damn it. I have to buy this 22 fucking ARC.
Yeah, and then it happens again.
You have to go into bear country, but you can't carry a rifle. What handgun in which caliber are you carrying and why?
Well, handguns are gay, so I guess I'm just not going.
Take a knife.
No, I don't know when they did our little bear guide training that you have to do in Montana. I don't know if they still have to. I doubt it, but bear spray, and I'd probably just carry a Glock 20 10 millimeter because I have one. That's what I got, so I guess that's what's going.
Montana Dirt Road says you carry a 22 for your buddy's knee.
Yes, yeah, I'm with him.
Oh shit! Look at that. It was a
Heritage Rough Rider.
Bad part is, I figure most of my buddies are probably tougher than me, so I'd cap him in the knee, and then I'd fucking trip. And
well, it's one for each team.
I'd get him a twofer, but
as long as you trip further away.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that Ron White joke. Look at me, Daddy. You never said I'd amount to shit.
Oh shit! All right, and finally, if you could hunt one dinosaur, what would it be, and what would you hunt it with?
Oh, I don't know. Which one do you think would come to the call the best?
Ooh,
probably T-Rex.
I think a raptor would come in pretty good.
Oh yeah, raptor with a 6 Creed, lip squeaking all the way. Them 87
raptor.
Them 87 grain VMAXers, they'll get there eventually.
Shit, yeah. And I mean, raptors were only what, 3 feet tall?
Yeah,
I'm a little bigger.
Are little. Dakota raptors are bigger, although Utah raptors a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Well, we aren't going to go to Utah to hunt them. We got to stay pretty local. So.
Raptors, lip squeaking with a 6 Creed.
Yes,
that's a good
nice.
One. I like that one.
Yeah, that is.
It's the lip squeaking that makes it.
It's probably the least thought through answer you guys have ever had.
No, the one I dread is just like, oh, T-Rex with a 50 BMG. It's like, all right, that's too generic. Like, you gotta spice it up a bit. So the lip squeak was.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that time, you might as well have some fun, you know.
Honestly, I thought you were gonna go with Triceratops because it like go back to bulldogging days.
No, I'm afraid that would be the equivalent like shooting an old mama cow out in the pasture.
Fucking right.
Like
a good mama.
I always thought it'd be cool to like save up my money and go on one of them buffalo hunts on one of them ranches.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I met a guy in college that his family raises buffalo. And so we went out there one weekend while they had hunters there. That was the most disappointing, unclimactic shit I've ever been a part of.
It's like shooting a cow.
Hell, an hour before they went out there, we went out there and run them a line of cake. I was like,
yeah.
Fuck. They kept walking over the draw, you know. I'm like, all right, one of these somebody going to charge them. Hell no, shot goes off, they run off. I'm like, that's stupid.
Ear tag is swinging.
Oh, that guy got so mad at me because before they took the picture, I took my pocket knife. I was like, hey, you want me to cut that ear tag out for you?
And that's the sad thing is buffalo were hunted so hard for so long that they have become livestock now. And so, yeah, you can hunt wild buffalo in some places, but it's almost guaranteed any buffalo that you shoot in my area anyway have been handled through a shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, they've been worked. Shoot, when you skin out their neck, there's probably going to be bruises from vaccine guns.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, hell, there might be an implant in his ear. You never know. But I was also thinking, you know, for guys that didn't grow up around like cattle and horses and stuff, I'll bet it is absolutely horrifying walking up to a wad of 80 of those suckers on foot.
Mike,
But what they don't know is just on the other side of the hill was us in the feed buggy in case stuff went awry. We were going to run some crowd control.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how. I just was told to start driving towards the people on the ground if it went bad. So I was like, well, I guess if we got to run one over, we got to run one over. But
Don't pet the fluffy cows.
don't pet the fluffy cows. Yeah, I do miss living in Montana because I miss the news in the summertime because there was always something. That was the most entertaining evening news when we weren't in the backcountry was the Yellowstone like idiot of the week or whatever they had.
86-year-old woman gored by buffalo. All right.
They were of Asian descent.
Yeah.
And
I drove through there one time with my parents when I was a kid, and I'm thinking, all right, Yellowstone, like this is gonna be some backcountry. Man, there was more people there than there was at the rodeo the night before in Cody. Like,
yeah,
like dad gum. They're run down the road with cameras and shit.
Oh, I wanted that freaking sow we saw last year with cubs to charge up there and start eating fucking hippies with cameras so bad.
Just going to them.
Because I'm just sitting in the fucking truck and I'm thinking, if this happens, I roll my window up. We're gonna stay right here and Grace, put your head down. Don't watch. Daddy's gonna watch. You cover your eyes.
Well, that's something I learned rodeo coaching is growing up around rodeo. I know this is totally weird, but now that you say like kids cover your eyes, it's amazing how numb you get to watching guys get knocked out.
Yeah.
Because we did like a school demonstration when I was coaching, and we had like a bunch of people there from campus. And I mean, you guys probably know how college professors are. And my bronc rider comes out and gets two jumped and absolutely knocked the hell out. And these people are freaking out, and I'm like half-ass giggling because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like he's just taking a nap. He'll be all right.
Way to go, Chad.
Yeah.
Got knocked out in front of the faculty.
Yeah. I'm like, way to show him this is gentle, Boy, when I was in college, we had a bucking bull break his leg during practice one time. Son of a buck.
Oh, Jesus.
You could definitely tell who the rodeo kids were and who the ranch kids were when that deal happened.
Yeah.
There was kids just walking their pickup like, can we shoot him? I'm like, no, he's still mobile. We're going to turn him into hamburger. I had him at the butcher the next morning. I'm like, he can still walk. Leave him alone. But
well, it has been an absolute pleasure. And it's never dull. It's always a great time hunting with you, with Brandon too. And thank you guys for taking us on all these fantastic predator hunts.
Hey, you guys, they opened us up September to March 31st now.
That's official?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, they ignored all the old boomers with their greyhounds and their open sight 30-06s worried about the deer. They're like, hey,
fucking A.
Like, I got enough money on my stuff. You won't catch me doing dumb shit at night. Like,
right.
Don't get me wrong. I got some feelings about that, but 99% of the guys I know that are coyote hunting at night, those suckers are squared away on their shit.
Well, yeah. When we were out coyote hunting at night, we saw a deer, and Brandon's like, "You see its tail?" Like, "Yep, sure fucking do." And flipped up, which it was a whitetail, so
yeah,
that's what whitetails do. But we don't shoot those.
Yeah. We call them expensive coyotes.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely have to get together.
So I'm thinking, well, I'm not doing any more deer hunts anymore. So I'm thinking like November during that pup dispersal. You guys need to come out. We're going to try to kill 30 some coyotes in a night. So remember your energy drink deal I told you guys about. 9, midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m. And you still might see the black dog driving home like I did last time we hunted.
Yeah. Well,
Like I was halfway home, Sam. And Sam, you've heard about them truckers seeing the black dog, right?
Yep.
I saw that sucker in my lane. Like, I was like, oh shit. I text Dave. I was like, hey, I just saw the black dog.
Yeah. To be fair, so this is how our coyote hunt went for Ty. He left Branson, Missouri at 8 o'clock that morning, drove all the way to Johnson, Kansas, and met up with me and Brandon. Hunted all night till 5 o'clock in the morning, drove all the way back home, then went to punching cows. So it was a day for old Ty, and
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. It was great.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd have killed much if just Brandon would have been calling.
Oh,
I mean, but there after those first few stands, I was saying, son of a bitch, maybe I've lost my touch. Like,
It was end of the season, and
But-
everybody's starting to calve, so it's
Boy,
you
once
can only
we-
call in what you can.
once we got around cattle though,
Yeah.
that hunting around cattle, that was the money deal there. And did you notice, like, I was playing a bunch of them high pitched pup
Mhm.
distress, like newborn pup distress. I
Yeah.
thought it was way too early for that, but those females must be close enough to whelping that it like sets off a instinct type deal. Because I noticed those pups, usually those high pitched puppies don't work till like this time of year. And those of you guys that want to manage your coyotes, like if you are managing deer on a place, like go kill a bunch of females right now, and you will manage the shit out of some coyotes because they're on the den with pups. Go kill the female, kill the male, and then pups, or you won't have to worry about them. So
they'll just go away.
yeah,
Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions. Just done.
yeah, I've been trying to catch one. One of my buddies, he
Best
had one.
decoy dog ever.
Well, he had one,
Right.
and he had him going good. And then his dad said, if you're going to keep him here, you need to get him vaccinated. And we vaccinated him. That sucker was dead 2 days later. I was like, damn.
Shit.
Well,
You,
all right.
you can't die of something you've never been exposed to, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, so
a lot of great info. I appreciate you coming on.
Yep. All righty then. I'm doing outro, aren't I? I gotta scroll
Yep.
down. Where'd it go? I lost it.
well, thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh yeah.
This is the
Thanks
most
for coming
techie thing I've done in a long time. I had to borrow these off my wife, so
No, that's okay. I borrowed these off my wife, and I've had them for going on 3 years now.
Mhm.
Just never going to give them back. Alrighty. So, as always, Gideon Optics affiliate code. If you don't want to spend $5,000 on a thermal, is moist. Camerado
Mhm.
affiliate codes. Let's go hunt. And as always, support the sport. Take a buddy hunting. If you like that buddy, tell him about our show. If you don't like that buddy, freaking take him out for a long drive and show him the black dog. Hit us up at lghpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and let's go hunt.
Take his mules.
What?
Take his mules. Let him walk.
take his mule. Yeah,
Let him walk home. Yep, that'll do.
yeah. Next thing you know,
Didn't
you
know
come home.
golfers.
Yeah, didn't know golfers were